Order. First thing we need is a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Mr. Burgess?
Second.
Mr. Ransom, all in favor? Passes 5-0. Next, we have our superintendent's report. Dr. Branch.
Thank you, Ms. Argo. Board members, as you know, we are quickly approaching the first day of school, and it's been quite a wonderful last couple of days. As you know, we start school on Wednesday. Today we had Meet the Teacher at all of our various schools, and outstanding enthusiasm from parents, teachers, students coming in. I think we had Oconee Ice, we had Chick-fil-A, we had Brewster's. High Shoals Elementary School actually had an airplane that the students could get inside the building that the art teacher, Mr. Klinkenbeard, had constructed. So lots of wonderful experiences. As someone told me out there earlier today, this is not your mother's or yours experience that you had at open house, probably. So wonderful things going on. I want to thank all of our staff that work to make everything special for our students and community, all the way down to the Meet the Teacher event. Earlier this week and partly last week, we had some great trainings for our staff. We had what we call the Blue Side Breakfast. All the schools that get together that feed into Oconee County High School had a unified breakfast, had some Olympic games that were themed games and opportunities just to spend some time together. You probably saw some of that on social media. We also had a Red Side Lunch. On Friday, we had trainings for all of our staff all over the county. That's our professional learning day during pre-planning, and North Oconee hosted what they call the Red Side Lunch, and so lots of our schools were able to join us and have lunch and break bread together. We had new teacher orientation here last week, and it was wonderful use of the facility to be able to welcome all of our new teachers on the second floor and have them come in, meet staff, and they were very enthusiastic and excited to get started. We've had a lot of professional learning all over our campuses, but also here we had our nurses and our school cafeteria managers here doing some training as well. So it's been a busy last couple of weeks, but we are ready to welcome our students and community back on Wednesday, and look forward to a great year. So appreciate all that you've done to support that, and all you continue to do to support our outstanding students and staff. A couple things we just want to make sure that our community continues to keep in mind. As we all know, there's ongoing construction, a road construction project at Butler's Crossing, and while they are working diligently to ensure that that road is complete, and also that they're as best they can out of the way of school traffic. The construction that's taking place right in front of Oconee County Middle School has been halted or completed at this particular phase, and so they'll be working on other areas, but we know that that will continue to impact our school traffic, and so our leaders and school officials are working to make sure everybody's informed about that and is working through it as well. We want to thank our partners with the Oconee County Sheriff's Office always as they prepare to return to directing school traffic and assisting our buses and our families getting in and out of our schools safely. And they also did some training for us last week as we prepared for any unseen scenarios that may occur. So I want to thank them for that partnership. I do want to update the board on a budget process item that came to our attention last week. The Georgia Department of Revenue notified us last week that we did have a technical reporting discrepancy regarding our July 1st millage hearings. And so state law says that districts must advertise the hearing the week prior in the newspaper. We did do that, but since the Department of Revenue has stated to us that the week is defined as 7 days plus 1, and so we were not in compliance with that particular interpretation of the law. So we're committed to resolving this matter and taking care of the necessary steps to ensure that we move forward appropriately. So as the board knows, we're going to provide notice in the legal organ this week for additional hearings. We'll have 2 additional hearings, excuse me, using the 7 days plus 1 The earliest that we could schedule those two hearings would be August the 16th, which is a Friday. We'll have those two hearings at 10 a.m. and at 2 p.m., followed by a special session at 2:30 p.m. to ratify the millage rate at that time. The millage rate recommendation continues to be 14.25 mills for the fiscal year of 2025, and so I wanted to provide that update to the board and the community as we go forward. A couple of additional items, milestone testing. You'll hear Dr. Stansel talk about that, but some wonderful results that we look forward to celebrating with our students and staff tonight. And then, as you know, our schools never sleep, but now we're in full swing athletically, no pun intended. Softball started last week, and we have softball, volleyball, and football this week. Both high school and middle school teams will be participating in lots of different areas. The much-anticipated Hog Mountain Bowl is on August 16th, hosted this year at Oconee County High School, and we know that's a wonderful community event. We look forward to welcoming the community for what is always a very memorable evening. The volleyball version of the Hog Mountain Bowl will actually take place tomorrow night, and Oconee County High School is hosting that, and that begins, I believe, at 7 p.m. for the North Oconee matches. There are some earlier matches with some other teams, but we want to invite our community to come out and show those ladies as much support as we show our football teams, and so hope you'll join me tomorrow night for the Hog Mountain Bowl volleyball version. Last thing I have is that Team Georgia, which is not associated with Oconee County Schools, but is part of the Oconee County Little League team. Many of us have been following their success over the last few days, and they've had a great run in the Southeast Region Tournament with wins over Alabama, South Carolina, and Virginia before falling in extra innings today. And 9 of the teammates on that team are Oconee County students. So we always love to cheer our kids when they're doing something representing Oconee County schools, but also when they're just doing outstanding things outside of our school system. So I want to recognize that tremendous achievement and thank the parents and students for allowing their students to go forward and represent our community so well in so many different endeavors. That does conclude the superintendent's report, unless there are further questions.
Yes, Mr. Ransom.
I just have one question about the times for the tax hearing. That'll satisfy by having one in the morning and one in the afternoon?
Yes, sir. The law says we need to have one prior to noon, and then we can have the other one any other time. So we have confirmed with Department of Revenue that those times are acceptable.
Anyone else? Thank you, Dr. Branch.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you don't like to toot your own horn, but at the Summer Gale Conference, Dr. Branch was chosen as the Georgia School Superintendent Association recipient of the Jim Puckett Outstanding Educator Award by the Georgia Association of Educational Leaders, and you were also reappointed for a third term to the Board of Trustees of the Teacher Retirement System of Georgia by Governor Brian Kemp. We want to congratulate you on that. Next on our agenda are presentations and discussions. First, we have our teaching and learning report. Welcome, Dr. Stansel.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Branch. The August 5th, 2024 Teaching and Learning Report contains 6 items of information and no action items. The first item of information is Innovation Oconee. On July 26th, the 5th Annual Innovation Oconee took place at North Oconee High School. This event provided an opportunity for new and returning teachers to learn from our very own Oconee experts. Ms. Sandra Nash, who is a former OCS teacher and 2-time District Teacher of the Year, is quite the legend, and she did a phenomenal job as the keynote speaker, welcoming everyone and kicking off our event. There were over 90 Oconee teachers, ITS, and administrators present, with 26 of our teachers presenting on technology and effective instructional practices. A special thank you to Jennifer Whitaker, Andrea Pender, and Tony McCullers and his staff for their efforts to ensure a successful event. The second item of information is Summer District Professional Learning. On August 2nd, as Dr. Branch shared, OCS held our annual District Professional Learning Day. Administrators, teachers, parapros, and all other staff were engaged in a variety of trainings, including trainings on math, CTAE, all of our new 6 through 12 curriculum resources, our new literacy resources, ESOL, skills training for our nurses, safety training for all employees, and more. In addition to the training day held annually during pre-planning, our staff has been involved in training all summer long. Human Resources held trainings for all new elementary and secondary teachers. They also conducted a training specifically for bus drivers over the summer, and our payroll department is involved in these staff trainings as well. Student Services conducted specialized training for our support staff. Our technology team hosted tech days for new and existing employees. Dr. Yancey and his team held active attacker trainings. And then there's teaching and learning. Multiple trainings were held this summer ranging from elementary and middle school math, science and social studies teachers working on curriculum mapping, resource development, and revising assessments for the upcoming year. Kindergarten through third grade teachers created new curriculum maps and pacing guides that align to our new benchmark reading materials, as well as engaging in mathematics trainings at our RESA. Our staff has been busy this summer working hard to be ready for our students this fall. All right, the third item of information is our new teacher orientation. On July 24th, we welcomed our new certified staff members to the ISC for new hire orientation. During orientation, new teachers received essential information from Human Resources, Business Services, and Technology. They also had the opportunity to meet district leaders, support staff, and fellow teachers. This event allowed our staff to begin forming relationships that are vital for collaboration and professional growth. We were thrilled to be able to host these 57 individuals at our new Instructional Support Center. The fourth item of information are the results of the 2024 Georgia Milestone End of Grade and End of Course assessments. This first graph shows our ELA proficiencies in grades 3 through 5. OCS is shown in blue and is compared to our RESA in red and the state in yellow. This next graph is ELA for grades 6 through 8. We have not received math scores yet due to the implementation of our new standards. We will receive those scores in October. This next graph shows our 5th grade science, our 8th grade high school physical science, and our 8th grade social studies scores. And this last graph shows our end of course results in the areas that we test in the high school: American Lit, Biology, and U.S. History. Algebra 1 is the other area we test, and again, due to the implementation of the new math standards, we'll get those scores in October and report those to you. As you can see from all these graphs, we are well above the RESA and the state in all areas. These next slides show our Georgia Milestones rankings. The first slides show our 3rd and 4th grade language arts test scores. This slide shows our 5th grade ELA and science test scores. Here are our rankings for 6th and 7th grade ELA, 8th grade ELA and 8th grade social studies, 8th grade high school physical science, American Lit, and our biology end of course tests, and then our U.S. history end of course test. The 5th item of information are the scores for our advanced placement assessments. This first graph shows the percentage of students scoring a 3 or higher on at least one AP exam. The total for our system in this area was the highest it has ever been. The second graph shows the number of students taking at least one AP exam. As you can see, OCS showed an overall increase from last year, and again, the total number of students was the highest it has ever been. And lastly, our sixth item of information is an update on the Why Georgia Works Alignment Grant. Through a partnership with the Georgia Department of Economic Development, the Georgia Department of Education, and UGA's Institute of Government, Oconee County was awarded the Why Georgia Works Alignment Grant for $15,000. School district and Oconee County Chamber of Commerce staff attended a training this summer on the implementation of this grant. This grant program assists school districts in addressing the alignment between CTAE pathway offerings and local and regional workforce needs. Through this alignment process, we are collaborating with the Chamber and developing an action plan that focuses on the following: workforce and economic development professional learning for teachers and staff, action steps to ensure our students are prepared for high-wage, in-demand career opportunities, and enhancing program offerings to meet current and future workforce needs. This grant also helps us strengthen all of our industry-certified programs, ensuring that students experience the most relevant industry standards while taking our CTAE courses. And that concludes the teaching and learning report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Dr. Stansel.
Thank you.
Next, we have Student Services. Welcome, Dr. Yancey.
Good evening, Dr. Branch and board members. The August 2024 Student Services Report contains 2 items of information and 2 action items. The first item of information is an update and review of our school safety procedures and methods. I would like to take a few minutes just to review our practices with you. And as you're aware, we employ a variety of methods to keep our students and staff safe. The first view here, the first slide, the purpose of these vegetables are to keep unwanted persons out of the building and for us to be able to control the access point into the building. We only permit those who have school-related business inside of our building, and we train our front office staff to work with these systems to ensure that we control who has access to our students and staff. The second piece of safety and security that we want to discuss, or I want to discuss and talk about, are access points. They're controlled through key card readers, which all of our staff members have. They are at entry points on exterior doors and interior doors. This allows our staff to move freely through the building to designated areas via their key card, and it permits each building to have that single access point as a point of entry in the school. We also use security cameras in all of our buildings, both internal and external. The primary purpose of these cameras is to identify and locate a threat that might be inside of our buildings without the need of actually being inside the building in person. In addition, our sheriff's office has access to all of our cameras and can pull them as needed. Thankfully, we have not had to use this in an emergency situation as of yet, but we do take the opportunity to practice in the event that we do have one on a campus. The next measure that we take is our visitor management system. This system is employed in all schools, and it allows us to track who comes in our buildings and who has gained access to our students and staff. This system also checks each visitor against the National Sex Offenders Registry each time the individual checks into one of our school buildings. In the event there was an alert, our administration on staff at that building would be notified. The next method we use is a school messenger quick tip system. These are located on each school website and the district website. It can be anonymous, or the person can identify him or herself, and can make any reports no matter the size of the report, big or small. As a former principal, we do vet every report that comes to us. I can assure you that. Some are a little more on the humorous side that deals with maybe lunch. Some of them deal with other issues inside the building, but we do receive those through our emails, and we do vet those any opportunity we get. You've heard of our next slide, our crisis alert system. This again is employed in all of our school buildings and will be in every administration building as well in the future. It is a communication tool that we use on our campuses to alert staff in the event of a lockdown. Each one of our staff members is provided with a crisis alert badge that allows them to activate the system, so it doesn't have to be 1 or 2 people in the building. Anyone with a badge can activate the system. When activated, there are audio and visual cues throughout the building that alert individuals inside of the building that we have entered the lockdown protocol. School and district administrators, as well as every law enforcement agent within our county, receive the alert of who pushed the badge and where that person is located inside one of our buildings. We have discussed with our sheriff's office how through the use of the crisis alert system and our camera systems, they are able to arrive to our campus in the event of emergency and know where they need to enter the building and where the threat may be inside the building, should that be a situation we have to address. The next procedure that we take, these pictures are actually from this summer. We do engage with our local agencies and agencies around the state and even outside the state to host training sessions within inside our buildings. Our hope is that our local agencies are very familiar with the nooks and crannies and the hallways and the classrooms of our building. But these pictures were taken this summer over a 2-week period. We hosted training sessions at Dove Creek Middle and North Oconee High School. During the 2 weeks of training, we not only had our local agencies of the Sheriff's Office, EMA, Fire and Rescue, we also had outside agencies to include Homeland Security, Georgia State Patrol, the University of North Georgia, Western Carolina University, National EMS, Fulton County, Athens Clarke County, Jackson County, Habersham County, Bartow County, and Pickens County. So this is not just an isolated training that we host, and as you can see from the pictures, we had representatives from all 12 schools take part in this training session that took place at North Oconee that second week. In addition to those trainings, we do have trainings inside the school building that are annual trainings that we host every year. Every school has 2 lockdown trainings that we'll have one in the fall semester, one in the spring semester, and that's in coordination. You see the diagram at the bottom with the local EMA and also our sheriff's office. They are in tune with every step that we do as far as training goes. They're involved, and they provide feedback as we have those training sessions. In addition to the lockdown drills, we do host 2 severe weather drills annually and also 9 fire drills. And this is to inform not only our students but our staff how to respond and how to react in the event of an emergency. The last slide here, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the Oconee County Sheriff's Office and the work they do in partnership with us. We're heavily involved in that partnership in our emergency plan process as we work together to keep our students and staff safe. There's nothing that we do in regards to school safety that we do not consult and take guidance from our Sheriff's Office. Even last week, Dr. Branch and I were able to spend time with Sheriff Hale and our school liaison, Captain Mark Smith, to review the plans that we had in place. Topics we discussed were updated facilities, traffic patterns, emergency procedures, school cameras, and other topics that relate to our emergency planning process. The second item of information for student services is the Oconee County School Nurses Skills Day that hosted at Piedmont Oconee campus. All 12 nurses participated in the annual Skills Day with our partners at Piedmont, and the topics reviewed and discussed related directly to potential needs inside all of our schools. That concludes student services items of information for tonight's board meeting, unless there are any questions.
I have one. Thank you for that report, Dr. Yancey. And early in the report, you were talking about how the Sheriff's Office has access to the camera system to where they can view those cameras. And I know from past discussions, they also have helped from line of sight and placement of cameras to help protect our students. You were talking about the key card access in there and how all of our staff members have key card access. In the event of a lockdown, we can lock all of the doors. Does our sheriff's office have access to be able to get into the buildings using a separate key card system? Or is there something that has to be unlocked on our side?
No, sir. They have key card access to all of our buildings.
Okay, and that would be any of the deputies that are on the road, any of them, if there's something that happens in one of our schools, they could go to any door and be able to get in?
Any door that has that access point, they can enter.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Burgess?
Do I remember correctly that the legislature appropriated additional funding in this new budget for school safety measures? Do we have yet any proposals or concepts on what we might use that money for to deal with issues on school safety?
We've done some fire suppression measures so far with that. We've done some additional cameras and some additional door access points, as Kevin has talked about. That's the funds that we've utilized so far. We continue to work with the Sheriff's Department and other security officials to kind of see what our thoughts are to further utilize those funds. We do appreciate that the governor and legislator allowed us to look at that and allow those funds to be utilized per the system as desired.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? I think you have a couple of action items.
Yes, ma'am. Student Services has two action items this evening. Both are field trips. The first is Oconee County cross-country program would like to travel to Huntsville, Alabama on September the 13th through the 14th, 2024. And also Oconee County High School course field trip to Orlando, Florida, March 7th through the 10th, 2025. The superintendent's recommendation is to approve the two field trips as presented.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have special education. Welcome, Ms. Korngold.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Branch. Tonight, Oconee County Schools Special Education Department for August 5th contains two items of information and no action items. The first item of information is the Educator Externship Program. This is the second year that we have participated in this program. It is a partnership with Northeast Georgia Work Source and is funded by the Sector Strategy Grant. Oconee County Schools collaborates with the Technical College of Georgia and the Workforce Initiative Opportunity Act. This externship allows our educators to observe and interact with local businesses while gaining real-world industry experiences, and they bring those back to their schools. I will say last year, one of the teachers who did attend this helped another student get a job in one of our advanced manufacturing companies that they actually did the externship with. So it was really very beneficial. She was so proud. The participants create a visual presentation that includes a summary of each of the companies, an overview of at least 4 occupations within that company. They have to add what the higher education or post-secondary training expectations are of that company, and then ideas on how to reinforce soft skills, employability skills that are needed to succeed in that company. There was advanced manufacturing, biotech, and biomanufacturing. We had teachers from both sides of our district, from the red and the blue, and we also had counselors that attended this as well. This is going to be a great opportunity to partner with Teaching and Learning and their workforce initiative as well. Second item of information is our extended school year. This occurred in June and it ended June 28th. So I want to say thank you to our instructional support specialists that lead and support all of our students that attend this, along with our teachers with communication, behavioral, and specialized instruction. It was very successful again, and we offer this every year to every student that if they meet the qualifications under the IDEA. That concludes the special education report, unless there's questions from the board.
Mr. Burgess?
How many students generally participate in this extended
This year we had 40.
40? Was that more than last year or about the same?
It's about the same. Years past, we have had more, but with different camps and parents, doing vacations, they opt out.
Yeah.
But students do have to meet the criteria.
Okay. And is that's across all multiple grade levels?
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you. Next, we have technology. Welcome, Mr. McCullers.
Thank you, Ms. Argo. Good evening, board members, Dr. Branch. The Oconee County Schools Technology Services Report, August 5th, 2024 Board of Education report contains one item of information and no action items. I'd like to give you guys an update on our summer projects. We've been very busy over the summer. Summertime is often a very busy time for our technology services team. I'd like to highlight a few major accomplishments from this summer. First, the technology relocation. We have successfully moved our district leaders to the new Instructional Support Center and reassigned the technology staff within the offices of the School Street complex. We also have successfully reinstalled the technology components and tools at Rocky Branch Elementary, making sure the Rockets are ready for their first day of school. Second, Infinite Campus security enhancements. Technology has made changes to improve the security of our student information system, Infinite Campus. This new two-factor authentication process better protects our students' and staff's sensitive information. Next, I'd like to highlight our support for teaching and learning. This summer, the technology team supported various professional learning experiences, including new teacher orientation and Innovation Oconee, and prepared the digital components of the new ELA curriculum. This school year, Technology Services will continue to monitor and support these instructional tools to assure student success. Last, I'd like to highlight the WAN bandwidth upgrade. We have completed a project that increased our bandwidth of our wide area network, or WAN, to 8 gigabytes. This upgrade significantly enhances the speed and reliability of the connection between our district servers and each of our schools, improving student and teacher access to instructional resources. Just a quick snippet of all of the things that are going on. I'd like to give kudos to my team and to the different divisions that we've collaborated with. It's been a very successful summer. That concludes the Technology Services report. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Human Resources. Welcome, Mr. Kofer.
Thank you and good evening. The Human Resources report this evening contains 2 items of information. Our first item of information is our Teacher of the Year process. So they say as you get older, time goes faster, and I certainly agree with that because I distinctly remember being here last year at School Street, sharing with you our timeline for Teacher of the Year then. And yet here we are again, ready to name another. Displayed before you, you will see we will again distribute ballots for Teacher of the Year on the 3rd Wednesday of the school year. We will then have the top 5 from those ballots submit their school-level entry form 1 week later, and the staff will vote the following week to name the school winners on Friday, September 6th. Those winners will complete their free response questions as part of their District Teacher of the Year process. Those will be reviewed by the committee and observations completed on September 25th and 26th, and our committee will complete their work by naming a District Teacher of the Year on September the 26th at our banquet that we hold in partnership with the Oconee County Alumni Association. Our second item of information is our Hall of Fame. We shared out last week on our website and on social media that we have opened the window for submissions of nominations for the Hall of Fame for Oconee County Schools. This will remain open until August 31st. Nominees must be former employees who have left the school system for a period of 3 or more years and have continued to contribute to the community since leaving the school system. All nominations collected will be shared with our Hall of Fame Selection Committee, and if any are chosen, they will be recognized at our November 11th board meeting. This concludes the Human Resources report for this evening, unless there are any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Our next report is from Operations. Welcome, Dr. White.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Yancey, we look forward to those quick tips on nutrition, sir. Good evening, board members and Dr. Branch. Operations has 3 items of information and no action items for this evening. The first informational item for operations is an update on our energy report. Our kilowatt usage per day for 1,000 square feet has been updated for the month of June. The second informational item is our transportation update. For the previous month, we had 1 field trip, 6 athletic trips, 7 buses deployed for a total of 1,082 miles. Transportation also rolled out new routing software last week after mapping over 4,800 bus riders on 61 routes over the summer. This new program allows us to quickly make changes to routes, have an easier connection with Infinite Campus, and provide live updates for parents on bus stop information instead of waiting overnight for data systems to update. We've had almost half our bus rider parents create accounts so far. Bus drivers drove these routes today, and transportation will be using driver feedback to make any needed modifications to routes. Our drivers were also present today at Meet the Teacher events across Oconee County Schools to answer questions from parents. We encourage parents and bus riders to reach out to our transportation route supervisors if you have any questions about your route. I would also like to thank our bus driver trainers, Tommy McCullers, Robert Casper, Michelle Brown, and Tammy Sanderlin on a successful recent bus driver training cohort with a 100% pass rate last week on CDL and state testing. These names will be brought to the board this evening. Our third item of information is an update on transportation safety. Addie's Law was passed by the Georgia General Assembly and signed by Governor Kemp. It was named after 8-year-old Adeline Pierce, who lost her life while crossing the road to get on the bus. The new law requires that students not cross a road to a school bus where the speed limit is higher than 40 miles per hour where available, and make these stops right side door pickup. Addie's Law also increases the consequences for drivers that pass the school bus during loading or unloading. To accomplish this, we have used our new routing software to comply with these rules. This concludes the operations report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions?
Right. Are any of those changes requiring more routes than we would have run last year to accommodate those requirements you just went through?
I don't have that answer right now, but I can definitely get that answer through Dr. Branch.
That's
as far
one
as
if the growth
comparison.
in our system or the changes that any of these laws or anything requires more routes than what we would have run last year.
Yeah. We can get you that
Okay,
answer based
great.
off last year's
Thank you.
information. Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Our next report is operations. Welcome, Mr. Ricketson.
Good evening. Construction update for the month of August. The ISC, we are continuing to settle in and use the new spaces in the building. As you've heard numerous times, we've utilized this facility a great deal over the last month as we've welcomed new teachers and staff for training. Kevin Price Construction continues to work on it to complete several punch list items, and we'll continue to make progress on closing the project out. Rocky Branch Elementary. This project is complete. We're ready to welcome students back on Wednesday. Finally, the district-wide generator project. The generators are on order. We're expecting them to start arriving in the spring, and we'll start getting them installed and connected. That concludes the facilities report, unless there are any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next report is communications. Welcome, Mr. Colquitt.
Thank you, Ms. Argo. Good evening, board members and Dr. Branch. The communications report this evening has 3 items of information. The first is our annual report. It was sent to 16,787 mailboxes in Oconee County recently, and we thank our sponsors of the annual report, Oconee State Bank, Bank South, Georgia United Credit Union, and Peach State Federal Credit Union. Also like to thank the Ad Smith and Berman Printing for their assistance in the annual report. Second item of information is our new look to the Oconee County Schools website. We launched it a couple of weeks ago to be in time for the new school year. Obviously, it's an ever-changing process, so we're being vigilant in making our updates to it, but we're getting really good feedback on it so far. Yet another way for us to showcase all the great work going on inside our on our 12 campuses. Next are social media impressions for the month of July, just shy of 7,400 impressions per post. So we're pleased with that number during the summertime. I've mentioned to you before, we try to have a 10,000 impressions post. We had 5 of those this month, and the one that won the month was about milestones. So a lot of people were proud of that accomplishment, and we were glad to be able to bring that information forward. And then our next item of information is the monthly highlights video. As we say often, the campuses never sleep, and you can tell June and July were busy times for us as well. That concludes communications, unless there are any questions for me.
No, I just want to thank you. I received my annual report in the mail, and I had a chance to look at it. You did an outstanding job.
Thank you, ma'am. Our team was really proud of it.
Anyone else? Thank you. We do have a need to go into executive session and need a motion to do so.
I'll make a motion that the board will adjourn to executive session to discuss or deliberate upon personnel matters as described on the affidavit to be attached to the minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Parrish.
Second.
Mr. Hammack, all in favor? Passes 5-0.